Making this video a week later, but sad news that we lost one of our heroes, Chuck Norris, who to a lot of people was a hero. One of the action guys, and certainly one of my favorites and one of my heroes. And I really looked up to him. And he was a good guy who made a career out of martial arts and films, and very full life that he was able to live. And he was 86, had just celebrated his birthday, and we just lost him on the 19th, and he was born on March 10th. So I'm thankful and grateful that we got those 86 years. And it's always sad when you know everyone has their day, and it's hard to believe that the day's come that we've lost Chuck Norris. I've been celebrating his birthday since 2008. I usually watch a movie or a few movies if I have the day off, and or read part of a book of his, or just celebrate. And so in 2008, I remember celebrating for the first time, and he was only 68 years old, and now he's 86, and we've lost him. So it just seems like yesterday that I was getting into him and knowing who he was. Just early 2000s, finding out who he was through my brother, who became a big fan and was introduced to me to Chuck and all Chuck's movies. It's a sad day to lose him, but it's great to know that we had that he lived a good life, and that we have his career and interviews and things that we can watch and just remember him by, and the memories that we have growing up or going through the years with him, movie wise or interview wise. And that he was a good Christian man. So the final video that he saw seemed to be in good spirits, and he said, "I'm 86 years old, I don't age, I level up." And he truly leveled up. So can't take that away from Chuck. He is truly will be in a better place. And that's what's easier to handle about losing someone, is to we don't always think that way when we're feeling good, and when we're in a position where we're feeling like this, that helps ease it for me, knowing he was a good Christian man, and that one day I'll see him living a Christian life. And he was like, for a lot of us that didn't grow up with a father, these action stars are our fathers. So this is very emotional and upsetting, and it's very personal. Now, I'm not related to him, and I don't know him personally, but in my heart and my lifetime, he was like a grandfather or a father figure to me, through the screen and through the videos. And it would have been great to have been able to meet him. The closest I had to meeting him would have been in Philadelphia, in 2018, but I didn't get to meet him. So that would have been one surreal moment if that would have happened. But the closest thing to being able to meet him, second best, would be probably to have his autograph, which I finally was able to get one. And it arrived, and I opened it on his birthday, March 10th. And it's officially authenticated, and it was actually personalized to someone. But it is Chuck Norris autograph and a little note. And to me, that's not personalized to me, but I feel like it's something special, and I'm happy to have the autograph, knowing that it was special to someone else at that moment. That it's special knowing that this was personalized and it meant something. So I do have the only thing that I can have that would have been close enough to meeting him, and knowing that he's gone but he's still here in our hearts. I'll have this autograph, and knowing that he had this and touched it and signed it, and there was a moment there. So I'm grateful for that. It's a photograph from Firewalker, one of, I think, his underrated films. So I'm very thankful for that. I have just a few items here I was going to show off and kind of talk about. My favorite movie of his is Code of Silence. I think it's always been Code of Silence. And this is one of the old rental tapes. And it's just one of my favorite movies, and I can watch this at any season. I usually watch this along with another on his birthday. This is guaranteed, and then I randomize what I would watch. Well, I managed to get this one in on his birthday. And before his birthday, and a few days after, pretty much up to a week after, I was just marathoning movies, and I got through most of them, and I'm going to continue that marathon. I also have the Blu-ray from 88 Films. Can't remember if there's anything specifically different about the features on this. However, I do have the Kino Lorber collection up here. I have everything of Chuck Norris from Kino Lorber as well as 88 Films, including Go Guys Wear Black. I have both versions because the features are different, and the 88 Films has a nice documentary that somebody made, I think a fan's perspective in a sense, on Chuck Norris' career, starting out and through his career. So Code of Silence, my favorite. Never gets old. I'm always going to like these movies. I'm always going to cherish, having that from Chuck. I have these Kino titles. So, Good Guys Wear Black. A Force of One. Underrated, by the way. And The Octagon, who also is in this film, playing two characters right there, and unmasked Richard Norton, who we sadly lost at the end of March of 2025. And they were good friends, and sometimes it's not our plan, it's God's plan, but now they can be together. I have the 88 version of Good Guys Wear Black. Chuck Norris, Path to Stardom by Mike Malloy. Definitely worth having, and I think it might be on this as well. Maybe not. However, one of my favorite movies, his second Chinese film after Way of the Dragon, and Slaughter in San Francisco. I always liked him. I liked the movie, but not that he's in a lot of the movie, but what he's in it for is good. I mean, the choreography and everything's great. I mean, this is definitely worth seeing at least once if you're a Chuck Norris fan. So, and this is Region B, but there is a Region A version, but you have to get it in a box set. So, anyway, it's got a lot of features. It's nice. For the longest time, this was only on VHS in the US. We didn't have a DVD. But I got a VCD, a Chinese VCD, years ago. And then within the last 2 years, this come out. And I was excited. And, you know, one of my favorites. So, the original poster art. However, that's a shot of him from Way of the Dragon. But that's okay. We love those movies. When they do things like that, that's fine. Way of the Dragon. I'm very happy that it's just, there's a lot of connections here with just how this stuff all works. And, you know, we'll always have Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris in Way of the Dragon. You know, that's timeless. And we have that now. We'll always be able to look back on that. Another underrated one, Forced Vengeance, finally got this Blu-ray. I just wish there was more time given to it with special features. And I would have loved to have heard Chuck talk about this one, even if you could pull an old interview of some sort. Some sort of promo for it. I don't know if we have any of that. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. I wish that we could get that stuff onto these discs, but it's rarely the case. So, but Forced Vengeance is definitely one that I recommend. So, it's Chuck Norris American Hong Kong film. So, Way of the Dragon, Slaughter in San Francisco were Chinese productions. This, however, was, I believe, Warner Brothers, or MGM, now owned by Warner Brothers. Well, it was. At least the DVD release was. But then this was filmed, I think, entirely in Hong Kong. Sort of kind of like Double Impact with Van Damme. One that's grown on me over the years. Watching it as a young guy, this was very different from the other Chuck movies, so I didn't cling to this one as much. But for the longest time, it was only on DVD and then hard to get at times. Then the Blu-ray from Mill Creek came out, which I have right here, some extra copies of things. I keeping them because those are my original DVDs, growing up with those. And again, some of that stuff, just, it's part of the collector's point of view, and it's part of my memories of having those when I got into Chuck. But I have this Blu-ray as well, and it has the trailer on it. The Mill Creek didn't have the trailer. I think it was just the menu. But anyway, I wanted to have this, so I got both copies. I have Sidekicks, which for the longest time. Wasn't available past Laserdisc and VHS, at least here in the States. But we got this really cool Vinegar Syndrome release. I'm thankful for it. Show these off. I keep this one up there because it's Chuck related. So it's nice that we have these are the relatives of the action stars. Well, Billy Drago's Billy Drago, but you have Don Swayze, who's the brother of Patrick Swayze. Chad McQueen is the son of Steve McQueen. And Mike Norris. So, it's Chuck's son. But I keep that one up in there. And we have Hero and the Terror, which is out of print, unfortunately. I do wish it had some features. Has the basic trailers for all the Kino Chuck releases. That's a really great movie. It's another one that's underrated for Chuck. One of my favorites. An Eye for an Eye is out of print again from Kino. I'd like for them to put it back in print, or somebody else get it and put it out with another sort of packaging. But An Eye for an Eye, one of my favorites. Directed by Steve Carver, who also did Lone Wolf McQuade. Here's my Kino release of Code of Silence. I think there might be one or two alternate features for that. Delta Force 2, which is out of print from Kino. Cool poster art. That was like a promo poster back in the day, and I'm glad they chose that instead of the DVD cover, just because we have both. We already have it, so like to not have this would kind of stink, but there it is. So yeah, Kino loves Chuck Norris too. Some of these are out of print, so the license must have been up for those. And I have the Missing in Action trilogy of films. My favorite is the beginning. My second favorite is probably Braddock, Missing in Action 3. I love the second movie. It almost seemed like when he was filming it, he had some sort of cold or was sick, because you can hear it in his voice, but it goes with the part because he's a POW living in terrible conditions and they're getting sick. So I just love part 2. So I recommend these. Again, not a ton of features on each of these. However, they're Blu-ray, they're remastered, they're finally released together, and at the very least you get a commentary, I think, for all 3, a trailer, and maybe something else for 1 or 2 of them. So it's the Missing in Action Kino release. Since I showed those, I have the original big box tapes of Missing in Action and Missing in Action 2 at the beginning. So I love these. I wish I had more of these, actually. In fact, I have this, but I don't have the case. I found this at a flea market or a sale for like $1.25, so I bought it. And I think it was before I had the DVD too, so that would have been in a big box case. And then one of my brother got me when our local video shop was going out. So I got the actual rental copy of this with the video store case that you could put the lock on. But so had this one going on 16 years. My video shop went out early 2010. I think in April, March, April, it was going out. So, and one more VHS tape, the clamshell of Hero and the Terror with this poster art. And this came from our childhood local video store, which was out of business before we actively started really going to this shop. So this one's even more near and dear because it's one of the oldest pieces. And then this is like second generation of the rental store for growing up. So, and I even have some of the extra characters, but several figures from Karate Commandos, the short-lived cartoon that he did in the 80s where he voiced his character. Very cool that we got a toy line for it, and it's fun trying to collect these things. You get them in the box, they're more expensive, I'll say that, but that's okay. If I ever get one of those, I'll be thankful. I do have the laser disc of one of my favorites, the Hitman. Just one of I always thought this was, when I was way younger, one of the coolest looks for Chuck. And then we would get a different look for him here. And this came out when I was born. So I'm happy to have this one. And on the shelf, I happen to keep this one near it. So it's Richard Norton, again, who we lost, sadly, just under a year ago. And they were good friends. This is another cool little action film. So, I have the 88 films release of Invasion USA. I do not have the Vinegar Syndrome yet. It's one of the only things I don't have Blu-ray wise for Chuck. And then I have my basic movies, like everything else. I have Firewalker, which, again, this is a photograph from the movie. This is Olive Films, who I think is out of business, but I was happy to get this like 10 years ago. Because for whatever reason, the DVD from MGM for Firewalker was insanely priced. Anytime I looked on Amazon years ago, and even on eBay until more recently, now you can get it for a decent little bit, but that's if you're trying to collect all the MGMs, which I have pretty much everything. Karate Commandos, Warner Archive, needed to have it. So I'm very happy they put it out. And I do want this to get another release, like a Blu-ray release that's not going to go out of print right away, but also from another company that's able to get it. So not much for this. I don't know that this even has a trailer. I can't remember. I think it might just be a plain menu and plain movie. But I have this because for the longest time, even now, I think it's still hard to get the Wrecking Crew, which Chuck was a small role in, his first film role, 1969, I believe. Bruce Lee did the choreography for the fight scenes for the movie, and Chuck had a small role as like a bouncer, sort of, or kind of like a bodyguard. So very cool. I was watching this. I was able to watch this in 2019. I think it was the 50th. And that's what I actively tried to track it down, and well, I got it. So it'd be nice if somebody like Kino could get this one, but I got it. Delta Force from Scorpion Releasing. This does have it has an interview with the screenwriter in the trailer, so it's got a couple things, which is nice. I don't know what the Arrow has. Arrow Video over in the UK, I think, put that out, and they had some features. And then I have Breaker Breaker, which I think is also Olive Films, so it'd be nice to get this from Kino. Lone Wolf McQuaid. One of my first ones that I got when I was getting into them. This is one of the, I think this is the same copy that I watched in 2008 on his birthday. I watched it on a portable DVD player at the table while I did homework. It's a great memory. So my Van Damme movies are tilting. So there's my DVD copy of Death Ring. Top Dog. Fun movie. One of my brother's first ones when he got into Chuck. He got this back in the day. So that's one of my early memories of that. Forest Warrior. Spiritual forest animals and things. And Chuck is the spirit of the animal. So it's very nice. Also has Loretta Swit, who we lost in May of last year. So, fun movie. And a couple movies that I wish had US Blu-rays. And that would be President's Man 1 and 2 and Logan's War, Bound by Honor. TV films, but fun. They're sort of in the vein of like the Walker, Texas Ranger episodes. But it'd be nice to have them, you know. Why not? So I got this. That way they're not all on one disc like a lot of their releases. These are like the public domains. So anyway, that would be something if we got these on Blu-ray. Even if you release them in a trilogy. Or President's Man double feature and Logan's War by itself. I have the TV movie collections of the Walker episodes that were converted into movies. One Riot, One Ranger was the pilot episode. That was the TV movie. And I'm happy to have this. This is, you know, it's something to get, like, not everything gets lucky enough to have like a release like that where you get a separation of the movies and then you can have the whole series, which I have the entire series. And a couple of the last movies that we got would be Bells of Innocence, early 2000s, and The Cutter. So I'm just thinking of early memories. It's gonna happen a lot. The Cutter, which was I think his last leading role, and has an insert with the original MGM Chuck Norris movies there. So that's cool. And those are the ones I grew up with. And nothing would be complete without Chuck Norris facts. It's a calendar from 2024 that I didn't properly display because I didn't have a desk or anything, and I thought it would, I just didn't want to have it sitting loosely if I couldn't spend it, or share it, or enjoy it more often. Some of them are popping off, but Chuck Norris facts. And the greatest fact of them all is leveling up. As he said, his last birthday was, I don't age, I level up. And he truly did. So I'm happy to know that one day I can see him in heaven. And very happy that he professed his faith. And that's one of the things that calms me from being upset, is knowing that. But there's a ton of stuff for Chuck. And a few of the last things I have is an extremely rare, the Chuck Norris Karate System, which is a book, but to me, it reminds me a lot of the Tao Jeet Kune Do that Bruce Lee wrote. But this is along those lines. It's a training manual, and I'm very happy to have this, and it is pretty original, so I keep it in the mailer that I got it in, and that way, like, I have it safe when it's on the shelf, because it is vintage, very old school. So, and then I have 3 of his books. I do not have the Chuck Norris fact book that he compiled himself, or his first book from the 80s. But The Secret, The Secret of Inner Strength. So, his autobiography, Against All Odds. Young Chuck. And Black Belt Patriotism. So I remember starting to read this back in the day. When I got this one, I just got extremely into it. There's his wife Gina and his kids. Very grateful. I would like to get the audiobook for Against All Odds, read by Mike Norris, I think, his son. So, I'm happy that we have what we have, and that we were able to have Chuck as, part of my lifetime. And I'm very sad he's no longer with us, but to know that he's going to be in a better place for eternity. And all the tribute songs that people are compiling together for YouTube. Some of those are Heaven's Got a New Sheriff Tonight. It's a very emotional song. It's my favorite of the tribute songs, and I recommend looking at some of those, or all of them. And that's like an honor to have that song and these songs made. I think Chuck would be very humbled and thrilled knowing that people were thinking that much of him and loved him that much, that we have this stuff for him, because of him. So, and one of the reasons all the martial arts guys, Chuck is a big part of why I wanted to do martial arts. He's an American who can be that good at martial arts. I could do even part of what he was able to do. I'd be happy. And so he was inspiring for that, and he's inspired millions of other people in the martial arts world. So I'm grateful for you, Chuck Norris. Thank you for everything you've done for us and what you've left for us. We're going to miss you, but you'll always be in our hearts, and we love you. And thank you. And God bless your family. I hope they truly know how special you are to us as well. Thank you.